Making a difference. It's at the heart of Southern Inspirations. I believe we all have opportunities every day to make a difference. In our homes, our local communities, everywhere we live, work, and play. Let's dive right into today's Making a Difference conversation.
There we are. Well, hello, everyone. Sorry about that. It took me just a second to get that situated. Good morning, Dr. We didn't even talk about, do I call you Dr. Anglin-Kay, Dr. K, Raechelle?
Say Raechelle, it's fine.
Raechelle, okay. Y'all, I was telling Raechelle just before I hit the go live button, I said, I'm going to try something just a little bit different, and we're going to see if it works. And it's one of those things, Raechelle, where you don't know if it works on this platform until you try it live. And so I knew I was putting myself at risk. So at least I did have our picture up there for a couple seconds for people to look at. But so there you go, everyone. That is your hearty welcome to today's episode of Making a Difference. I am Michelle Hill, founder and CEO of Southern Inspirations. And my guest today is Dr. Raechelle Anglin-Kay, and she is the founder of Paint the Town Purple in honor of Jimmie, and so much more, so much more. I got to let her tell y'all because she's done so much, and she has such a heart in the fight against pancreatic cancer. So again, welcome everyone. I'm thrilled to have you, Raechelle. And would you just start by telling folks a little bit more about yourself? I don't think I mentioned that you're in Houston. Everybody, I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas, and Raechelle is in Houston, Texas. And so as the Lord would have it, he brought us together to have this discussion today. And we hope that you find this both a blessing and something educational that you can take and share with others. So with that, you've got the floor, Raechelle.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share my story and my platform. And again, I'm Raechelle. I'm from Houston, born and raised. And I work in the medical community in the Houston area. And I do some other things, but my passion is helping low-income cancer patients with providing them housing. Paint the Town Purple in honor of Jimmie was started in honor of my mom, and that is one of the things that we do. One of many things that we do is provide housing for low-income cancer and dementia patients in the Houston area. Let's see, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a member of many organizations, probably too many. Just try to keep really, really busy and active in the community. And my passion is truly helping other people. So,
well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. When we visited last week, I literally could have stayed on the phone with you forever because just your spirit of encouragement and your true heart to carry on the legacy of your mother, Jimmie Anglin. Y'all, her mother passed away from pancreatic cancer in 2013, right? Did I get the date right? And I don't want to give everything away because that's for Raechelle to do, but her mother's dream had always been to open up a retirement community, specifically for those who might not otherwise be able to afford such a facility, right? So would you let us into the life in the heart of your mother just a little bit? And I've got chill bumps even as I say that, because you didn't always understand some of the choices that she made, right?
Correct.
In her career as a geriatric nurse. And now, fast forward after a few years after her passing, and you doing what you're doing, there's been a few things you've come to understand. So let us have a sneak peek at Jimmie, kind of how that has evolved into Paint the Town Purple and the care home.
Gotcha. So if you look over my shoulder, I have my mom's picture here in my office. So she's kind of always my guardian angel. And that's important to me. Like you said, my mom was a geriatric nurse. She started off as a school nurse, and over time she went to work for the what's now called Harris Health, but at the time was Harris County Hospital District, which was a hospital district that provided healthcare for those that were low income or didn't have insurance and things of that sort. And I always, was kind of like, why does she work there? I mean, it's so busy. It's, so many people every time you go there. Just never really understood that. But for her, it was a passion and it was a calling. And she went on and furthered her degrees in nursing and became an administrator. But before she retired, she actually went back to the floor to work as a geriatric rehab nurse. She was the nurse manager for that department, and it meant a lot to her to actually be hands-on as she was, finishing her career. Again, didn't really have an understanding of that. I'm like, you were way up in the offices. Like, why would you go back on the floor? But mom always would talk about when she would retire, what she wanted to do. She wanted to create this assisted living, and she had all these dreams and passions of how she would do it. And she really wanted to help people and wanted to give back. And again, a lot of it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. So about my mom retired, and within a few months of retirement, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Typically, people with pancreatic cancer don't live very long, but mom actually lived 2 years with it. And what I didn't share was that my grandmother died of pancreatic cancer in 1995, and my grandfather in 2007. So I kind of a little bit about the disease, but both grandma and grandpa died very quickly, like within a few months. So didn't really get to learn that much about it. But mom, we got very active and started finding foundations and things that had walks, and we got kind of active in that during mom's illness. And at one point, we talked about like what we would do to honor her legacy, and she kind of was like, that's up to you guys. It's not really up to me. I'm kind of passing the torch on. And so mom died in 2013, and October 11th, 5:58 a.m. So for months and weeks and months after mom passed, I would wake up at 5:58 a.m. every day.
Wow.
It was very weird, and I would have this vision of a home filled with people, and didn't really make sense to me. I was like, this is weird, and it would always be at the same time.
Wow.
So I came to realize, okay, I need to have a clear understanding of what this is. And I just really kind of began to open up and let God kind of speak to me and say, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Now, for me, I never had a passion for doing any of this. This was all kind of my dream. It was just kind of, like, I don't have time for any of this. I really didn't. I was busy. I had kids, working. But that vision would come 5:58 every morning. So eventually I decided, to kind of explore it and just run with it. And I decided to get things together and be able to open the home for people. And, we've just kind of taken off from there. So,
yeah, y'all, I want to put that on the screen real quick so people can see. And here we go. It's called Cookie's Place Care Home. And like she mentioned, this came from this dream, this vision, this thought that just would not go away at 5:58 a.m. And so what a blessing, though, you have been. And when we were talking the other day, I came to the understanding in listening to you that, these are individuals who most likely are probably most definitely would be homeless, Raechelle. We're truly talking about individuals with dementia and cancer specifically, who might not otherwise have the care, let alone a roof over their head. And so talk about making a difference in your community and just carrying the legacy of your mother. That has got to just fill your heart every single day, getting up and knowing that you are literally living out, walking out her vision. I just, that's so special.
Yes, I mean, I may not be doing exactly the way she would have done it. She was probably much more of a perfectionist than I am, but I'm just trying to do the best I can to honor her. And you know, one of the things that I know, I used to work in a nursing home setting, and I would notice that we would have patients that didn't have a place to go. And, you know, once they discharged, what we would consider a safe discharge was maybe having to send them to the Star of Hope shelter or something of that sort.
Right.
And so it just all kind of started coming together. Like, wait a minute, like I could maybe do something to help someone not have to go to a shelter. Or, you know, maybe they have some income, but not enough income to provide 24 hours of safe care and 3 meals and 2 snacks a day. That's
Right.
really, if anybody that's had a loved one in assisted living or a personal care home, that can be $5,000 or $6,000 a month. And no, everybody that's in our care, they don't have that.
Right.
They've all have such unique stories, and they have given of themselves in different ways in the community. And it's just, you know, we have military veterans, we have people that have worked very hard and just maybe didn't have a family, or we had to reconnect them with their families, or just things like that. They've all have unique stories and deserve excellent care. And
Absolutely.
now it makes sense what mom was trying to do her whole life, is give excellent care to people that may not have been able to afford it for various reasons.
Right.
And it's been difficult because, you know, it's like I've had to sacrifice a lot at times, you know, not doing vacations and things like that because I got to be close to the care home at times. But I do have amazing staff members that are there. And one in particular, Jessica, has been with me for the longest, and she's amazing. My daughter is 18. She's a CNA and an EMT, and she's a nursing student, and she's now joined the team. And so just to be able to help others, and just to be able to, we've created a family environment for these, they're not just our patients, they're not just our residents, they are family members. And you know, we have our arguments, our fusses, our fights, but we also have our tears and our good moments, just like any other family. And it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of your daughter, we have a picture to show of her real quick. In action. So I'm going to pop that up, and it's going to be in the middle of the screen, y'all. And so we're going to have to play musical just a second. I'm going to go this way. There we go. So this is Reagan. And, you know, that's something else that you and I talked about, is what a blessing that is. And again, you've already alluded to it a couple times so far, just seeing that same love and desire in your daughter.
Yes. It's amazing. She's a lot like my mom, and she wants to be a nurse. She told my mom when she was about 4 that she wanted to be a nurse, and then she went and wanted to be a superstar and some other things. But now she's come back, and she's truly passionate about healthcare, and has just been a tremendous blessing to the residents. They all really love her because, of course, she's 18, so she's coming with young, fresh mind, but she gets, you know, she gets right in there, and she's not afraid to work. And just to see her in action and know that, you know, mom's dream is living on to a third generation is just.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you are a doctor, and I know that part of your mission, if not your main mission, is cancer preventive measures. But before we, and I don't want to forget to, I want to have that discussion. I want this to be educational for those that are watching. But before we get into that, Raechelle, I want to talk about the nonprofit. To kind of go back to Paint the Town Purple in honor of Jimmie. And I'm going to put that up there again because, you know, you mentioned earlier, and we all know this, there are phenomenal costs associated with running a care home, and it never ends. We're talking about the livelihood, food, shelter, clothing, medicine, travel, utilities, you know, all of these things. So Paint the Town Purple, y'all, in honor of Jimmie, is the nonprofit arm that helps, at least in part, fund Cookie Place. So if you will tell us just a little bit about the nonprofit itself and how folks can help, what they can do to help you carry this out to continue to fund the care home.
So, of course, Paint the Town Purple in honor of Jimmie. Purple is the color of pancreatic cancer awareness. And Jimmie was my mom, nicknamed Cookie, which is where we got Cookie's Place from. So we wanted to, of course, say Paint the Town in her honor because we want people to, number one, be aware of pancreatic cancer, what it is, how lethal it can be. But we also wanted to have a fun way where we do like walks and different things that we raise money that are kind of fun and healthy. You know, we do the walks, we did paint parties, we do things of that sort because it is, like you said, it is costly to have 24-hour care. So, you know, we have lights on 24 hours a day, literally. The residents sleep with their TV on. So, I mean, it is, you know, very expensive. So these fundraisers that we do help us to keep the doors open. We do have to feed them 3 meals and 2 snacks a day, sometimes more than that, depending on what's going on. So, you know, we are always in need of canned goods, toiletries and things like that help us, and they go a long way. Right now we're in the process of kind of raising money to do some repairs around the house. Believe it or not, when you have, you know, you have a 24-hour staff member there, and you have, you know, 5 residents there, things get broken. So we're having to do some repairs. We just had to have our AC repaired, and that was kind of unexpected. But of course, in Houston, it's about 100 degrees. So AC went out last week. We had to quickly get that.
Oh, goodness.
But, you know, so there's things that, you know, just every we're in a household. It's a house, but it's a little bit of an older home. So things that we have with our normal homes that we live in, probably times 10.
Yeah.
What we have to do there. But we always want to make sure they're comfortable. They have food, they have snacks.
Right.
They have activities. You know, they have, if we needed to go, well, pre-COVID, we would go to McDonald's and things like that. So we have ways to get them places. So it's a, you know, ever changing, but it is something that, you know, the foundation does help us to keep those doors open, helps keep, you know, everything going.
Right.
And so normally we do a walk every year. We won't be able to do that this year because of COVID and, you know, not being able to have large groups. So I'm a little disappointed with that. But Michelle gave me some great ideas of some things that I can do. And so I think I'm going to run with some of those. But, you know, the biggest thing is that I want people to know, yes, we do need assistance. But also we want people to just keep us in your prayers and your support and spread the word about that we are there. And if you do have a friend or a family member that you know of that needs a place, we don't have vacancies all the time. Usually when we do, it's because someone has passed away, sadly. But when we have a vacancy, we quickly try to get someone in and help them. You know, we want them to have great lives. We want them to have, you know, comfort and care and love in their last years of life. And so it's you know, for me, this nonprofit, I think, is something my mom would be tremendously proud of. And every day I'm just thinking of what I could do better to serve the people that she would want to serve herself and how she would do it. And again, I'm not 100% there yet. I know that she's probably fussing about, you should do this, you should. But we're doing our best, and we have been able to help several people. And it's just been a tremendous blessing for me to be a blessing to someone else.
Wow. I'm overwhelmed, and just in a good way, just how you've just made this happen. And so I've put the website up there, y'all. That's kind of a go-to place to get additional questions answered. You can reach out to Raechelle that way. She's also on Instagram, and before we end, I'll pop that up there for her handle. I want to take just a second to acknowledge the folks who have commented so far before we kind of get into the medical side or the technical side of pancreatic cancer. So Dana said, I know Mom is so proud of you and the work you've done.
That's my sister.
So yeah, I figured that. Thank you, Dana, for watching and for making that comment. And then Darius says, keep up the great work, my friend. So proud of you. Thank you so much for your support. And I know that support system, that rallying around you and your family, if you will, is so important. It's just so important. And then Krista has a lot of purple hearts. I love that. And she says, Dr. K, so inspiring. And then it looks like Davita just chimed in and said amazing work. So thank you so much, Davita, for your comment there. Okay, let me get us back over here. So I want to talk about pancreatic cancer. And in preparing for this, I looked up a few statistics, none of which I can quote right now. But I needed the personal awareness, even as much as I work with nonprofits and I share stories and I try to stay up on things. And Raechelle, pancreatic cancer has touched my family on my maternal side. My maternal grandfather passed away, and or no. Actually, I'm correcting myself. His was colon cancer. Regardless, it's just a topic that I don't know is always addressed, and that people realize, like you mentioned the word lethal earlier. And so would you share a few minutes, obviously as the daughter, and what you saw from the family side, but from a medical viewpoint, what do we need to know? What do you want people to know, and how can we prevent this?
So I'll speak first from the family side. From the family side, again, my first experience was when I was in college, and my grandmother died of pancreatic cancer. And when she was diagnosed, I had no idea what it was. I mean, I didn't realize that my grandmother would probably have like 30 days to live. I didn't get that. I thought, okay, cancer, she's going to have chemo, she's going to be fine. My grandfather, I think they diagnosed him with the flu, which ended up being pancreatic cancer. So one of the biggest things about pancreatic cancer is it's not the easiest cancer to diagnose. And usually by the time it's diagnosed, it's already in stage 3 or stage 4. So what people need to look at is the signs. Gastrointestinal issues, type 2 diabetes, not being able to digest certain foods that they were able to digest before, and just being very aware of your body. Now, one of the things I can say about my mom, she was being a nurse, she was very aware of changes in her body. And when she was going to the doctor and telling them something was wrong, they would do colonoscopies and they would say, oh, you're fine. She was adamant to say, no, something is wrong.
Right.
Her awareness, her changes in her body, and her knowing that, when she would go out to eat, a lot of times she would have an upset stomach afterwards. It was just some little small things that some of us just overlook.
Right.
with her being aware, she was able to survive for 2 years. There are some surgeries that you can have. A Whipple is one of the procedures that's available, but those are not everybody has that chance to have that surgery. Not everybody's going to have the chance to have chemo to elongate their lives, just because, like I said, it's very hard to diagnose. So I would say for any adults that are noticing changes, like, for example, if they've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, that's one of the things you want to have checked out. If you have a history of having family members with pancreatic cancer, there's some genetic testing that can be done. It's something that my sister and I are going to do. My aunt has done it, and everything is checked out really good for her. But it is important to know that is out there, because they don't really tell you. I think we had to dig and find research to say there is some genetic testing. But what I do want to tell anyone that has a family member that has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, it is a very painful process. I watched mom in a lot of pain. I watched her, in her last days, not really be able to walk again anymore. But she was always pretty strong. She would say, I don't want to just sit up here and die. I'm going to try to do what I can. But it was to a point where, it does just kind of travel very quickly through the body and can spread. So one of the things that we're seeing now, and I mentioned to you before, is we're starting to see celebrities that have been diagnosed. One of the first celebrities that I remember, and he was my favorite, I was going to marry him when I got older, was Patrick Swayze. So Patrick Swayze was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer years ago and passed away with that. And now we're Aretha Franklin, Alex Trebek suffering from that now. And then John Lewis, and some of these celebrities have had amazing treatments, and they're able to prolong their lives. But you got to think about the average everyday person may not have the
Right.
finances and the resources to do that. So we definitely want to be aware. We definitely want to spread the word. November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. A lot of people forget about it because it comes right after October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But I definitely encourage people to learn more about the disease and the signs and symptoms.
I'm going to have to put on my glasses. I'm going to type in about Awareness Month. I want that to be on the screen. Oh, well, I did it in the comments. I was on the comments. Just to remind people, and you and I were talking earlier, I've made a note. I want to circle back with you, and I want to have another conversation, and I want people to keep it top of mind. What else, Raechelle? What else, if anything? We've covered a whole lot. Thank you so much for your time. But is there anything else you would say to anybody, or something that we should consider, or just something, if we had one takeaway? What would you say?
So I think the biggest takeaway, and one of my other passions, is to promote wellness and promote healthy diets and eating a little differently than I personally did in the past. And that's one of the things that is big for me. So on my Instagram page, I don't really talk about the pancreatic cancer. I more so talk about wellness and healthy eating and healthy tips, because I think that's really important. I think prevention is key in any disease. And so if we can just start doing a few things differently, that can change our lives tremendously. And so I that is my biggest takeaway for everyone. All of us, some of us are health nuts. I'm not there yet, but it's a learning process for me, and I'm inspired to inspire others. It helps me to try to hold myself accountable. And I know that one of the attributes that I want people to say is, like, hey, I made a change. Maybe it's just one thing. I started eating salads now instead of burgers at lunch, or things of that sort.
Right.
So just, love your body. We only have one. And it's God's temple, and we just need to honor it and try to be as healthy as possible.
Oh, wow. I couldn't have said that any better myself. That is so true. And admittedly so, I need to do a better job of that. Being poor COVID gets blamed on everything, but
Right.
it's what it is. But, COVID stuck at the house, and I'm a huge cook. And so it's real easy to go in there and snack and to cook hearty, full,
Yes.
calorie laden Southern dishes.
Yeah.
So
And
there,
sometimes that's okay. I mean, it's good to splurge from
yeah.
time. We're all human, so
But generally speaking, we need to keep it healthy. And I do try. I love salad and I love fresh vegetables, but there are definitely some ways that I know I can improve. So, oh gosh, this conversation has just been phenomenal, as I knew it would be. We have one more comment that I want to recognize. Kim Randall says, "Thank you, Dr. K, you're an amazing woman of God." I love that.
thank you.
And Dana back on saying amen, sister. So thank you, ladies, for your comments and for watching. We greatly appreciate that.
And I thank everybody who supported us. I want to thank my amazing staff at Cookies Place. Like I said, I'm not able to be there 24 hours a day. I couldn't have done it without them. James, Jessica, Reagan. I love them like my own family, and I thank them for the sacrifices that they make and being caregivers.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people forget their caregivers. My caregivers are amazing, and just so supportive and so understanding of the residents, and I'm thankful for that.
Wow. Well, thank you again. And before we end, I want to put the website up there again. I want to make sure that's up there at the end of this video so that folks have the reminder where to go for more information. And follow her on Instagram. I had that up earlier. And continue just to help spread the awareness. And we will be back. You'll see more of us together as I get to know more about Raechelle and what she's doing and the work to raise the funds awareness for pancreatic cancer. I've told her, I was like, I'm your partner now. I'm coming alongside you and going to help you bring awareness from Houston to Little Rock and everywhere in between, because this disease knows no geographical boundaries, right? Or any other boundaries for that matter. We could, that's for sure. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your continued support of Southern Inspirations. It allows me the space and the opportunity to do just this for nonprofit organizations. And as I like to ask with every single broadcast, is that if you are a nonprofit leader or you know someone who is a nonprofit leader who might like the opportunity to do this right here, just to have a conversation and to bring awareness within the Southern Inspirations community, that's what this is for. And so I would ask that you reach out, let me know. Let's have a conversation. And that's it. Dr. K, thank you again.
Thank you.
I could just go on and on because I enjoy just gleaning all of the knowledge and your sweet spirit too.
Thank you.
Time together. So thank you again for what you're doing. And I look forward to when we do this again.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for your support and tuning in.
All right. We'll see y'all later. Everybody have a wonderful day. Bye.